Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise account. I'm Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we have McDonald. And it's not really breaking news. And we're making a video about this because we want to get our points across. Um, it's rumored that Jayson Tatum is coming back on the first. And I'm being blunt with it. And let me show you, for example, from the league, the Celtics home game versus the Philadelphia on Sunday, March 1st, has been moved from 6 p.m. to 8 and will be televised on NBC. Carl, first of all, hearing this on a day where we have the Rising Stars game in about, like almost 2 hours, and hearing this news is incredible. But do you think that this means that this is the date that Jayson Tatum will come back? What do you think, Carl?
Honestly, looking at this news, it's very, how would I say, tempting to, feel this way, because all of a sudden now this game taking place later on in the day, specifically around 8, where, individuals are not necessarily going to sleep, but in the next hour or so they're or supposed to get some sleep. But to see now that this game is going to be televised, again, the temptation is there to even, think about that, because why all of a sudden is this change happening? You rarely hear of something like this happening unless, of course, something big is, about to occur. Definitely, it's one of those things where it's not a guarantee that Tatum is coming back in that moment, but it would not be surprising in the slightest if, the Celtics and of course the NBA were preparing for Jayson Tatum to return on that tonight or that night, simply because of the metrics. And if this somehow ends up being true, then David would be, I guess, closer to us, in terms of predictions. I'm pretty sure he had the fourth, if I'm not mistaken, for a Jayson Tatum return. So if this is right, not only will he be closer to that prediction and, of course, correctness, but also, funny enough, too, this would also be closer to Jayson Tatum's birthday, as we discussed prior on the podcast, too. So this is a weird, very, very weird coincidence that could actually turn out to be something very true. And if it is, obviously, I'll be ecstatic. Obviously, I'll be one of the many people, you included, to wear Jayson Tatum jersey the night he finally comes back. I would hope that this rumor is true. This isn't just, something that's being passed around and alleged and not, given any facts or really any weight to it. I'm hoping that this is true. And if it's not true, completely fine. Wouldn't be surprised if it isn't, but it is still guaranteed. It's still pretty much seen that Jayson Tatum could be coming back soon, even if it is not on this date.
Yeah, and again, like this isn't confirmed. This isn't confirmed. We will give you a breaking news video once this is confirmed, we assure you. But I also have some inside sources, Carl, that actually I talked to at the main Celtics yesterday, and I have some inside sources on Jayson Tatum. I talked to this inside source. I'm not going to disclose any names, but I talked to him, and he was actually at the Jayson Tatum rehab in Boston with the main Celtics. And I asked him, I said, how'd Tatum look? And he said, phenomenal. He looked amazing. And that is great to hear. The whole team was there. Obviously, not the injured players, but the whole main Celtics were there. They got to face off against Jayson Tatum. And even hearing from Ron Harper Jr., who said he may or may not be back this season, but looks great, which I think at this point they're just kind of trying to be like, all right, we're not going to disclose a date, but I think the date might be set with this news that we're given. I mean, we could completely be wrong. Like this could totally be a coincidence where the Celtics are doing good. The Celtics have been on a roll, and the 76ers, a good rivalry matchup. That could totally be a good game coming off of All-Star break, because again, the Boston Celtics didn't have so many televised games this year because they were supposed to be a tanking team and not be the best. I mean, you see that because we didn't even play on Christmas, which the Celtics normally play on Christmas. So that could totally be a coincidence that, they're changing the game after All-Star break. The Celtics are in second place, as you see in the ticker below. I mean, it could be a coincidence. Do you think so, Carl? Could that be a coincidence, or does it likely look? What are you feeling? Do you really believe that this is his time, or do you think, eh, I would hold up on it?
Honestly, I could go either way with a situation like this. Yeah, as I said prior in my original statement, definitely could be a coincidence for the most part, as you discussed. You're looking at this Boston Celtics team going into the season, and there were pretty much question marks, but also individuals saying that this is going to be a gap year, this is going to be a year that they tank. So there's really no point to give them that attention on TV. Yet, with all that they're dealing with the cards that they've been dealt with, they still remain not only atop as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, but as one of the best teams in the entire league. I'm pretty sure they're top five as one of the greatest teams in the entire league, if not top six, which is absolutely incredible and outstanding, especially from a team that was never meant to be in a situation like this, where, again, they are vying for the first seed and going up against, the Knicks competing for that second seed spot, which ultimately the Celtics do have, but still in the running to keep that and maybe get the first seed by the end of the season. Who knows? But, it's definitely, I would say, if, it's not Jayson Tatum returning, it's definitely the league essentially giving the bone to the Celtics, saying, hey, you guys deserve it. You guys, have been performing very well this season. So we feel like you deserve some type of recognition by giving you this national game. More than likely, leaning towards that just because, although I really want this to be, a night we can remember as a Jayson Tatum return, but something tells me he comes back a little bit later just to ensure that he's okay. But again, I would not be 110% okay. But again, I would not be entirely surprised if this is the night. If this is actually the night we see number zero coming back, and I believe it's supposed to be a home game, which makes it even better, to a standing ovation. And who said it too as well? David, him getting that moment, and of course, mainly coming off of the bench. But I feel like he finds himself in a situation where, he is starting just so that he can get that standing ovation from the entire Celtics nation surrounding him, that fan base, physically there in attendance. And of course, it being a couple of days before his birthday definitely would make for a very special moment. And I really want this to happen. But I feel like, and I'm leaning more towards it being just a coincidence and them rewarding the Celtics with all the hard work that they have been doing this entire season thus far.
Yeah, well, Carl, I'm gonna go the route that I think this is Jason Tatum's return date. Just to give a little friendly competition here because we need someone to go one way and the other person the other way. So I'll
I
go.
respect
I'll
you.
go the opposite, because I think I have a weird feeling. We're making this video. You see the date. I'm gonna go. He is coming back. I don't know. A little friendly bragging, right? That'll be a fun one. Just because David, he's been, geez, I think it was episode 85 or something like that, where he gave his actual confirmed date. So for David to be like this close to it too would be insane. But I have a weird feeling like we're making this video now and it's like, all right, they moved it up to 8. They, like, again, totally could be coincidence. Like I think, my body wants to tell me it's gonna be coincidence, but my fan inside me is like, this means something. This means something. And again, you guys, we're making this video just in case it is true. I mean, it's a rumor, so you're not gonna take a definite yes or no. But again, I'm gonna pull up this tweet, 6 to 8, like 8 o'clock, like prime time, and televised on NBC. I mean, they might know, but you would think if it was already known by the TV company and everything, then Shams would have put something out. And I don't know. I'm feeling very weird about it. Do you want to give me a little more reassurance, Carl? Because you're pretty set on this is not it. You think so, or what do you think?
I don't know. Just looking at this situation, I really want you to be right just because, again, it's like Jalen Brunson said when the initial, incident took place. The NBA needs Jayson Tatum. And I'm not saying that to glaze. I'm generally saying that because basketball truly has not been the same. Whether you're talking about solely Celtics basketball or NBA basketball, hasn't been the same since Jayson Tatum went out with that god awful injury. And I really want this to be true. I really want this to be true, and it definitely could be true. But for some reason, I feel like it's mainly a bone, being thrown at the Celtics and more bones to come. Again, wouldn't be surprised if this is the case. Tatum is coming back, but something tells me it's like, hey, it's coming, but not at this time at the moment. Not to say I want my prediction to be right. I like being right, but again, the sooner the better. But again, 110%, that is all I'm asking for.
I mean, it would make sense too, because you look at it like 76ers, the rivalry matchup, like we were talking about on episode 87. So go check that out after you're done with this. Episode 87 of the CNR podcast. Make sure to check it out because we gave our prediction dates. And I think David was listening off, and David was pretty right. Like, that's why I went Philadelphia at first, I think. But then I changed my answer, which I'm sad I did, because I now think it could be Philadelphia. I mean, I look at this and it's like it makes sense. Rivalry matchup at home, close to his birthday, right after All-Star break when, and it was news the other day that WNBA player, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl. I forgot who it was, but she said she had a Achilles injury, and when she was doing 5-on-5 practices, it was 2 weeks before she returned. Um, when was the practice? On Tuesday, I believe.
It
Uh,
was or it was definitely earlier this week, and yes, I do
we'll
remember her saying this.
we'll
Pretty
say
much it
Tuesday.
yeah,
That's
yeah, around that time.
we'll say like Tuesday or Wednesday. That's the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of next week. Nothing. Um, that following week, nope. March 1st. That's 2 weeks, Carl.
That's it. Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's 2 full weeks. That's 2 weeks and a couple extra days. Like, I don't know, Carl. Something in my body is telling me Jayson Tatum could be coming back March 1st. Wow. But
Please let your gut be right. Please let your gut be right. Like
and let this guy's gut be right too. Like the whoever tweeted it, and everyone has been posting about it. We even posted about it, and we're making a video about it because how much this is like, hold on, is Jayson Tatum coming back? Because he might be. We might have a. It's unconfirmed, but it's like it's definitely something to talk about. I mean, we've been talking about it, Carl, for almost 15 minutes, so gonna be interesting. But do you have any final thoughts you want to add before we close out, Carl?
like I said, Jayson Tatum, come back when you are 110% ready physically, mentally, and spiritually. And if you believe the 1st of March at 8 p.m. against the Sixers at home on national television is when you are ready, we will be there. Number 0. We will be there.
Love it, Carl. And I have to say, it was on 98.5 of the Sports Hub. They were trying to get Joe Mazzulla to crack, and he's like, "You guys aren't going to get me to crack." So there's definitely like they know behind the scenes, and because I even asked my source, I was like, all right, because we were talking about practice and everything, and like what days they practice on, and I said this, the main Celtics were supposed to have a practice originally at the Expo, but then I got news a couple days later. Yeah, they're gonna actually be practicing in Boston, and I was like, "Did you guys know this for a little bit?" And he's like, "Yeah, we did." So they set that practice up, so they know behind the scenes when Tatum will be ready. Like I that's the thing. And I'm saying Joe Mazzulla's not cracking. No one's cracking. No one's cracking. Like, but from my understanding, I heard that he looks awesome. I mean, you heard it from Ron Harper. He looks awesome. He's Jayson Tatum. That's what he said. So I don't know, Carl. We'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, you guys, everyone, go check out the Rising Stars game because Ron Harper Jr. will be in there. And then go check out Jaylen Brown in the All-Star game this weekend as well. And make sure to stay tuned because we will be maybe give you guys a special recap after the All-Star game. Who knows? Who knows? And I also got to say on top of that, stay tuned for our podcast next week and check out episode 87. We will see you guys with the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Hope JT comes back soon. We will see you guys with the next one. Peace, you guys.
Later.